Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
Hello, and welcome to our show, The American Veteran. I'm Dale Parrish, your host. Carl Fowler is our co-host. Also sitting in with us is Theron Lansford. Our guest today is Grant Loy. He's a Marine veteran, but he has a collection of old nautical sayings and settler sayings. Some I think are hundreds of years old, and we're still using them today and not even thinking about where they might have come from. Welcome to the show, Grant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
You've got a beautiful ship there.
Well, yes, somebody gave me that. I don't remember who it was, but I decided to keep it because I like it too, and it is a replica of the USS Valiant, I think. Of the American Navy. And I'm going to use it here just a little bit to make some of the things that I'm going to talk about a little bit more easier to understand. Of course, this is the bow or head of the ship, and then this is the stern, but when I was in, we called it the fantail, because as the ship went through, that just kind of water behind it fanned out. So anyway, the lower corner of each square sail has a rope or what is known as a sheet that comes down to the deck. And the reason that is because when they tack or turn the sail, they loosen one and tighten the other one and keep underway. And the reason why they do that, so they can, if they're sailing straight south and they want to go to the southwest, then they turn the ship. But if they don't turn the sails, then they don't get as much headway. They actually can lose headway if they turn enough. Okay, now I'm just going to do two sails here. This one back here to the fantail of the ship is called a spanker. So do you suppose that some sailor sometime had to spank his youngster when he got home?
I suppose.
And then up here is what's called the jib, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Also, here at the bow of the ship or the head of the ship is where the restroom is, and even today, aboard any American naval ship, Coast Guard, Merchant Marine, they're all called the head. Because it's at the head of the ship. And the reason why it's at the head of the ship, because when the ship is underway, you don't want it back here at the fantail, you want it up at the front.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I have. Not quite yet. A couple more things. The starboard is the right side, and back in the day, the left side was called the larboard. Now, the starboard side is Old English for steering side. So if we go clear back to the Vikings, that's where they had the steering oar, because they did not have a rudder. They didn't have a rudder for quite a while. And then the larboard side was the loading side, because they couldn't bring the right side up to a port to load it, because if they did, they would break the oar off. So that's
Okay.
okay.
Starboard and
larboard.
Larboard.
And so the left side became the larboard side, and then today, because larboard and starboard sound so much alike, after the turn of the 19th century, there's not really a date that took place, but they changed it to port because they loaded on this side. They could load on either side, but they named it the port side because they would load on the port side.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we got all that all done, we'll get down into the fun part, I hope. Blue Monday. We all have a Blue Monday once a week, right?
Yeah, right.
But Blue Monday in that days of sail has been carried on down because the punishments that the sailors and the Marine or whoever else was on aboard ship, the punishments was done on Monday. If it was done on if the offense was on a Tuesday, then they had to wait clear around a whole week, almost like one day, to get their punishment. So they had a lot of time to think about, why did I do that? And the punishment also was with a cat o' nine tails, and I'll show that in a minute. But over a barrel is a common expression even today.
Sure.
And that meant that they would take the offending person and tie them over the barrel, and then take the cat o' nine tails and get their required amount of lashes, whether it's 5, 10, or whatever. Of course, the more they are, the longer and the worse it hurts. But
over a barrel would really expose their back.
right, yes.
Stretch it out nice.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a cat o' nine tails. Now, a real cat o' nine tails would be made like this, out of leather, but that would be about 3 or 4 times bigger.
Yeah.
Now, are there 9 of these? Is
Yes,
that it?
right.
Okay.
So whenever somebody had done an offense, he let the cat out of the bag, which I just did a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But they carry their cats, if you will, in a leather bag because they didn't. Cloth was really a premium in that day. Like the uniform that I have on, my wife made this, and if you look at the trousers, what they made the trousers out of for the sailors was old, wore-out sails.
Canvas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think one of us mentioned here earlier about to know the ropes.
Okay.
Now you take the Constitution is a 3-mast ship, and there's over 30 mile of rope on that. That's every rope that's counted. You know, like the cannon down below, they have a block and tackle on them so they can move them around, and when it fires it don't go bang like that through the other side. Yeah.
Restricts its movement. Yes.
Right. So you really do have to know the ropes when you're aboard ship, in a sailing ship. And even today, they still have a little bit of rope on there that they tie the ship up to the dock with. But ships are really a cool thing, I think. But my stomach didn't think too much of them. But
Okay.
first rate. Now this implies excellent. And in the days of sail, England, the master of the seas at that time, they had a 100-gun ship. Now that was first rate. And they move on down to 80 to 90 guns. That would be a second rate, and then on down to like the Constitution would be, I can't remember exactly, but a 4th or 5th rate because there was only 44 gun on it.
Oh.
So now this next one is I've had experience with that, and so did my older brother. Pipe down, that's the last signal with the bosun pipe aboard ship. When I was in, it was at 9:30. Now, I don't know what it is today, but I would assume around that time
I think
somewhere.
all of us has been told to pipe down.
Yeah, we've been told pipe down. Now, that indicated some kind of activity. Was that the end of the day, or
Yes.
that wasn't lights out?
Yes.
It was lights out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Lights out, be quiet, go to bed,
Go to sleep.
go to sleep.
Oh, wait a minute. I might have missed something. What was the pipe?
The pipe is a bosun pipe. It's
Oh, okay.
The one with the little whistle
Yeah,
they blow.
okay.
yes, right. I bought one. I was going to learn how to do that, but I had orders from the power to be quit blowing that thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Pipe down.
yeah, my older brother and I, Mom would get us our jammies on, and put us to bed, and we'd get the regular boy thing going, and my dad would say, "Pipe down in there, boys," and pretty soon he'd say, "You boys had better pipe down in there, or there's going to be men folk mixed in it," meaning he was going to come in and
Do something.
see what he could do to make it be quiet. So he was going to pipe us down. Groggy. Rum, grog is rum that's 50% water, in theory. So if a sailor had too much grog to drink, then he was groggy, even though it was 50% watered down.
You still get tipsy.
Right. Because rum is not as much as whiskey, but much higher than wine. Anyhow, groggy, and sometimes we'll wake up in the morning and say, "Man, I didn't sleep good. I'm kind of groggy this morning." Well, that's where that comes from. 3 sheets in the wind. Now, I already told you about the sheets. So when 3 of those lower corners of a square sail get untied, it makes the ship very hard to control. A sailing ship is hard to control anyway, because you watch the movies and stuff, they got a helm that's bigger round than this table.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes there's 2, and they have 2 men on there to guide it. So when those come untied, then it makes it harder to control, and they kind of tend to oversteer, and it kind of makes it stagger around in the sea, so to speak. So 3 sheets in the wind. We've said that a lot about somebody.
Yeah, but that indicates a drinking problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. You've had too much to drink,
Right.
and
3 sheets to the wind.
right. And sometimes they'll say, "Well, he was about 1 sheet in the wind, maybe 2 sheets,
Mm-hmm.
But 3 sheets is when it's really pretty much staggering." As a crow flies, I thought this was kind of a neat one too, because in that day and age, they didn't have a GPS. They went by the compass and their speed. They say they were going south to Cuba from Boston, say, and they knew they should be close to Cuba, but they couldn't see it. So they would get clear up in the crow's nest, which is the main mast, and they would release a crow. Now it would fly around, and if it spotted land, then that's where it would go. But if it didn't see that land, then it would come back and land on the crow's nest. So he was their guide, I guess. But even yet today, we'll say by the way the crow flies, meaning pretty much a straight line.
Yeah.
But sometimes the roads are not straight, but we still use that saying, toe the line. Now, when the sailors and Marines were called on deck for inspection or whatever, they would line them up on where the planks went together as a straight line, so they would all be straight in line. That's toe the line. And even today, we send our youngster out somewhere and say, Mister, you get over there to your friend's house, you better toe the line or I'll be over.
It means behave.
Right.
Right.
Walk the straight and narrow line. Slush fund. I probably shouldn't say this, but it seems like every time you see something about Congress, they're talking about a slush fund. But a slush fund in this day, in the day, I'll just say it that way, was all their meat stores was in salt pork or salt beef in barrels. And as they used that out to make their meals with, there would be a fat from the meat around the barrel, and the cook would scrape that out, and he would make candles, and he would save it, and then when the next port of entry, he would go in and sell that to the candle makers there, and he would buy something sometimes for himself or for the ship, and that's called a slush fund. Now, I don't know what the other guys do with theirs, but that's what it's supposed to be done with.
Yeah.
Okay. Under the weather, if you were on watch aboard ship and you were, say, up the front and the wind was coming from the west, say, and you were going south, and every time the ship come up and come down, there'd be water come up, a spray, and come over you, and the sailors would say that you are under the weather. Now, today, when we say that we're under the weather, we don't feel very good.
Right.
Right.
So we still use these, and I think they're still valid. Not as the original saying was, but in our time it is. Okay, rummage sale. It comes from a French word. I never could pronounce it, and I don't know how to say it in French anyway. So ARRIMAGE, it means damaged ship's cargo. And whenever they would get aboard or get to a port, they would take whatever damaged cargo they had and have a rummage sale. And so we do that all the time, except we've changed that a little bit too. We got garage sales, yard sales, and even a rummage sale.
Stuff you don't want.
Yeah, right. One man's junk is another man's treasure, I guess.
Right.
I brought this with me, square meal. Now, you can see that there's like a lip around here. Very easy to keep clean because it doesn't have a joint there. And when you were aboard ship, you had a plate and a tin cup and a fork or a spoon, and that's what you had to eat with. Now, anything they put on that is a square meal.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. That's carved right out of one piece of wood, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
That would be a square meal.
Yeah.
But you could get lots of food on that, too.
Oh, sure. They usually had a stew.
Sure.
They had all cook and put it all together and come by. You go by there and he'd like that to get it off the spoon down on your plate sometimes. But well, it was a lifestyle anyway, whether you liked it or not. But not by a long shot. An effective range of a cannon was 50 yards about. And when they loaded the cannon, they put the powder in, then put the wad in, and then put the ball in. Now, it would actually roll right down the barrel, so they really had to tamp that into the padding because if the ship is rolling a little bit,
It'll roll back out.
Roll back out, right. So not by a long shot is pretty much anything over 50 yards with the cannon. A good movie to watch is, of the period, would be Master and Commander. It shows how they load and how fast they get the load and all that. And I really enjoyed it. In fact, I think I wore out one CD watching it, but I liked it. Ditty bag. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps back in 1957, they still had a ditty bag, and that's what you carried your personal items in. Your shaving gear and shaving lotion, shoe polish, whatever, all that into a bag about so by yay big around, ditty bag. And they had that back in the days of sale, so it's just been carried on down. Hands off. Now, this is a thing, we still use that a little bit, to keep your hands off. Hands off. And what that meant to a sailor when he was issued his equipment or his clothing, he also had a knife in there, a folding knife. If he drew that in anger against one of his shipmates, then he didn't do that no more because they took that hand off. Mm-hmm. So
hands off.
Hands off.
That was kind of severe punishment, but
well,
obviously it was a good deterrent.
Right, I would think so. Mm-hmm. Start over with a clean slate, and this works out with the professor here, I think. The clean slate means at the watch back by the helm, they had a slate board, and whenever anything happened, they would write down like the speed and course of the ship and anything else that had taken place during the watch. They would write that on there, and then at the end of the watch, they would put that in the logbook, and then they would wipe the slate clean so the next watch could start over with a clean slate. Fly by night. That's a large sail they use so they don't have so much crew on duty, even though a lot of them are on watch. They just have the one sail to maintain. It's a lot slower, just enough basically for the ship to contain or
Make
control.
Headway.
Yeah.
Make headway.
Yeah. So we use that today. Boy, that guy over there, don't ever buy nothing off of him because he is an absolute fly-by-nighter. Touch and go. And in the days of sail, if they got a little bit too close to shore, the wave motion would bring the ship up and down, and if they got close enough, then the bottom would touch. And if it's a sandy bottom, they'll pretty much have control over it, and then they can come, turn and go back out.
Head back out. Yeah.
But if it's a muddy bottom, sometimes that's really a touch and go because that mud doesn't, it has a suction to it.
Yeah, it holds them more.
Of course, that's an Air Force term, too.
What, touch and go?
Touch and go.
Oh.
Yeah, because when you're learning to pilot,
Mm-hmm.
you do touch and go.
Right, yeah.
Learn how to land and take
But that's
off.
practice landings, right? They come down, touch, and roll a bit, and then they go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we use that a lot of different places today yet.
Sure.
Scuttlebutt. Today, a lot of these terms I've told to younger sailors and Marines, and I get a blank look on their face, But scuttlebutt is the drinking fountain. When I was in, it was a scuttlebutt. And what a scuttlebutt really is, back in the days of sail, a butt is a barrel that they carry their liquid stores in because they didn't have a freshwater condenser.
Right.
So in order for a sailor to scuttle anything, he cuts a hole in it. So what they did, they would scuttle the butt, cut a hole in the top of the butt so they could dip their
water out.
dip their water out. So scuttlebutt. Also, it means rumors because where does people gather around at the drinking fountain? or
Yep.
the scuttlebutt. What's the scuttlebutt today? This next one is one that I never could figure out, although I'd often heard it used when I was in, and some of the things where they talk about the overhead and the deck and bulkheads and all that. Now I could figure that out, but the head, I never could understand why they called it the head. The same way with the smoking lamp, although they would say on the ship, smoking lamp is out during refueling or whatever, and but they really did have a smoking lamp back in the days of sail, and they used that to light their pipes with. Most sailors that smoked, they didn't have cigarettes. Now they had cigars, but they were expensive. So they used the smoking lamp to light their pipes with. It's a square box, and there's two tubes, one on each side, that carries sticks, like a match, only there's no matches. It's just a stick that's light the thing, and then they would light their pipe. And they would do that up at the head of the ship. Why'd they do that? You think? Okay, the reason why they did that, because the wind from the fantail to the front or head of the ship would blow all the ashes to the front, over the ship. Oh. So they don't want to do it back here and get into the gunpowder and fire just don't mix. When it does, it goes bang.
Yeah, but you know that smoking lamp is lit or smoking lamp is out.
Yes.
We use that term in the military, Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you was out on bivouac or something this way and you take a break, they'd say smoking lamp, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah.
You know, and smoking lamp is lit. Smoke them if you got them. Meaning if you could light up a cigarette during a break,
sure.
And then smoking lamp is out, we're going to proceed, you know.
They, in the Navy and the Marine Corps, they, aboard ship, or even anywhere, even when I was at boot camp, they'd say smoking lamp is lit. You know, and that's the only time you could smoke. And I didn't quite understand that, other than I knew not to do that. Yeah. But anyhow.
I hate to interrupt. These glasses you got on, is that from how long ago? Did they have glasses like that?
Oh, they've had, when I got these about...
no, I meant
the
17th
style.
century, did they have
Oh,
glasses?
yeah, I call them Ben Franklin glasses.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you can buy them over at Pearston.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering how far back they
Yeah.
was able to grind glass.
Right, he's the one that come up with bifocals.
Right.
Because they used to have two pair of glasses, reading glasses and look glasses, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Cut and run. When they cut and run, they would be at anchor, and rather than put the men on the capstan, which would be 8 or 10 guys, they would just cut the rope and get those 8 or 10 up, putting sails up so they could go. Yeah. So it's cut and
so
run.
they sacrifice a little bit of rope
Right.
just to get away from port.
Yeah, they carried extra anchors and extra rope for that situation.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So even today, yes.
Okay.
You know what
Thank
happened?
you for being on our show.
Oh, okay.
We're
We
ran out of time.
already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we tried to have some fun this show. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, freedom is not free. So if you see a veteran or someone in uniform, just walk up to them, say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you, and good night."